All right, I hit record, so we are going to start. I believe this is session 6 of the power. I think we're calling Power of Infinite Purple because we don't have anything better at this time. But it works for me, and it kind of works for what we're going with here, and so I'm just rolling with it. Um, Thank you all for showing up again and attending. I'm excited to kind of hear how things have gone. I think our focus is where we're at. We've decided, and we've already gotten permission from Devora for this, is we're going to continue the healing for Arlo, her grandson, and really use that focus, intention, and that real heart and spirit of the original of the Power of Eight. The original purpose of it, and utilizing these focused meditations to really power and get this as powerful as we can and help Arlo as much as we can. With that said, I don't know if anybody wants to kind of share from their week of anything they experienced. I know we had some things in the chat room, the chat group that were shared. I didn't know if anybody wanted to expand on anything.
I'll share a bit of what I experienced this morning. I didn't put that in there. Um, and now I'm wishing I had because I only recall part of it. But uh, I remember, oh, okay, some more is coming in. I remember being with Arlo and imagining him, like sending him the energy of being like a superhero. And Superman came to mind. And encouraging him to use his superpowers to heal his body. Um, and then it was Paw Patrol came into mind, and I'm not even all that familiar with that show. That's not one of my kids ever watched. And there was a firefighter from I don't even know if that's a thing, but that's what came into my head. Um, and again with the healing energy and just kind of playing and letting go of stories came up a lot. Letting go of stories. Um, it has dawned on me a number of times, and I'm going to share it, and maybe it'll be meaningful, maybe not. Um, Having dealt with colon issues myself, um, having had the cancer there, one of the things that I found really interesting in the many years following that situation was I was reading a book by Louise Hay, and she does a lot of affirmation work, or did. She's passed. Um, and specific to different parts of the body, she'll give different affirmations. And with the colon, it was always about letting go. And, to put it rather crudely, let that shit go. um, it's kind of apropos. Um, and um, the stories is what's coming up, and knowing a little bit more, having spoken with Devora recently. She and I had a chat. um the importance of letting go of the stories, any kind of guilt there. And that, for me, what I looked at in my own situation, um having recognized that for many years I carried a lot of guilt related to the loss of my daughter and my supposed part in that, um, and recognized that the two very much went together. Um, I don't know if that's the case here, but that's what has come into my mind several times. So I'm sharing.
I
Thank
was encouraged, Brian. I was encouraged when you shared earlier, I think it was today, about how when you were meeting with Arlo and you were playing board games with him. And wasn't that you that shared that, Brian?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. And what encouraged me about that was the board games that you were playing with him, because he's not quite old enough to play those games yet. And I realized, I was like, that's encouraging, because if he was doing that, that means he's older. You know what I'm saying there?
Oh, definitely. It was a healed version,
Yeah,
and healing, and he it was just funny because he was just like, everybody wants me to do, play outside, do something active, and I'm doing all these active things, and they want me to be so active. He's like, can we just sit and play some games? I was like,
yeah,
yeah, we can do that. We can, and so yeah, we sat and played a couple games, and it was fun, just joyous, and that's the energy I'm trying to bring to him is that joyous, that abundant
right.
energy.
And
Yeah.
it was just encouraging to me because it was clearly you were, and I understand all the different things about different dimensions and different places and time and space, but you were you were playing with a slightly older version of him if you were playing those games, which is to me was encouraging because I mean, like I was thinking Candyland, he probably wouldn't be able to play Candyland for maybe another year or so because I don't think he's quite to the point where he'd be able to figure out how to play a board game. But the fact that you were playing it with him, I was like, oh, that's really cool. That means that he was still here, playing that board game and had a future time, and that was really encouraging and exciting to me. To it was kind of like when the very first session that we got together and was when we were dissipating the storm off the coast in Portland and then I saw him sitting on that bench outside the hospital and he was like 11, and it was that kind of a feeling when I read that post from you today. It was the same kind of thing. It was like an encouragement of, let me give you a glimpse of a future moment in time with him where he still exists here in this dimension, in this plane. And I thought that was, I don't know, that was just what it spoke to me.
And thanks for sharing your feelings on that. That makes me happy. I mean, it knows that it's doing things and it's giving hope. And that's kind of what we're going for is the hope, and
Yeah,
then really just helping Arlo focus on that and not focus on
right,
his current situation, but that
right.
he is healing, he will heal, and he's going to be doing these fun, amazing things that he loves to do.
Yeah, because, this is the first time. I mean, he just had his 40th surgery. So there's been 8 of them in the last 13 days now. And this round of surgeries has been the first time that he's been old enough to have an understanding of what's going on. And I think I shared, it's caused him a tremendous amount of anxiety, fear, and sadness. And he even asked his dad a couple days ago, am I going to die? I don't want to die. And my son said he just started crying and going, I don't want to die. And what parent wants to hear their child say that? And so it's been a whole different experience this time around of for everybody because he's never really been he's or at least he couldn't vocalize. I mean, a year ago he could talk, but he wasn't vocalizing the anxiety and the fear because I don't think it was quite registering yet. And this year it's like, oh, this isn't good. I'm laying in a bed with my guts hanging out here. I don't think this is supposed to be this way. And it's just a different dynamic this year than it's been in the last 2.5 years.
That was very powerful share. Thank you for that. Thank you for being vulnerable with sharing that, and um yeah, that was some focus earlier in the week. I did have the focus on the anxiety for him and
Mm-hmm.
how I felt he was getting stressed out, and that's kind of when I shifted and we shifted onto that
Right,
playful vibe. And all of us that were doing this regularly seem to have that same shift around that same time. It's like we need to give him hope. We need to get him
right,
playful again. We need to focus on the good him, the healed him, to
yeah,
release that anxiety, to release so he doesn't focus on the sickness and what's happening. And
right.
he is healed.
And I think he is doing a little better because I asked my son, I asked him last night, I said, is he still struggling so much psychologically? And he said he seems to be better. So thank you. I think that was right on to be focusing on the play with him and interacting with him in that way. And a couple of people talked about that and doing that. And I think that's been very powerful.
That yeah. I agree, and I feel that it's shifted. It definitely shifted the energy I've felt, and it's more of less of an anxiety. I did work to create that purple energy, that infinite energy, and so he has that infinite purple spark kind of in within him that's helping to take care of him and helping the healing.
Hmm.
And just kept reminding him, don't worry about the healing now. Don't worry about all of it. You're gonna heal. You're healing.
Right.
Just let your
Yeah.
body do what it needs to do, and you just relax. Just enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, if all the adults in his life can just do the same thing, we can just believe that and relax and enjoy the process. And, I think sometimes our anxiety projects to him, his family, his parents and me and, his immediate family. I think our anxiety projects to him and sometimes has created some of this anxiety. And so we're trying to take all that captive and not live in that place of fear and anxiety, but in a place of
That
hope.
that speaks very much to what came to me this morning. That
Yeah.
the energy around him has to be helpful as well, and that's what I
Yeah.
was getting at about the stories. And I truly know that it's extremely challenging to be in a place of peace with what you've got going. And I also know it's the only thing that's going to help in the end, you know.
Yeah. Well, and talking to you the other day, Kim, helped me with that because it helped me just remember to continually, every time the thought comes up, to just refocus on the present and not in the what ifs or, you know, the future, but just to stay focused in the present because it's in this moment that he's being healed. And
Absolutely.
so I have to focus on that it's in this moment he's being healed.
Yeah, I'm very glad to hear you say that.
Exactly, exactly. And it is always easy for us to say, to speak it, but to actually act upon it. It is extremely difficult, but it is also what it would be very powerful.
Right,
And like you said, not projecting that onto him. So if he sees comfort, he sees that it's going to make him comfortable. Uh,
right. Yeah,
and that's also part of what we're hoping with these power of eight, these infinity and this purple and these healings is to help heal all that anxiety and release all that anxiety. And I think this playful energy is definitely the way to do it because you don't want to focus on the anxiety and then magnify the anxiety, right? So if we're focusing on the anxiety, what are we doing? We're feeding and giving power to the anxiety.
right.
So we need to reverse that. You don't fight fire with fire, and you just get a bigger fire. So we needed to find that opposite polarity and um, some of the people that have read the Kabbalion and stuff and know the law of polarity and the different things and so you have in these emotions and to reverse the one you don't ride at that same vibration. You have to find that opposite vibration along the scale so you can raise it up and effectively heal.
And by
Right.
being in the moment right now is where you can be grateful for, instead of looking at, wow, he's, his guts are hanging out or whatever. Wow, he's still here with us. Wow, we get to talk
Right.
to him. Wow, we get to hear him to talk with
Yeah.
us or laugh or whatever. And that's where the magic is.
Yeah, and my concern has kind of become this last week about how much are his mom and dad projecting hopelessness right now because they're feeling hopeless. And I understand why they are, but and I haven't quite been able to figure out how to hold them in the right place to help them, you know, overcome that hopelessness. Um, I don't know. Maybe that's something they have to find their own way through. But, I that worries me is that this I feel more hopelessness from the two of them than I have in the last 2.5 years, and that's not helpful for them. It's horrible for them physically and emotionally and spiritually, and it's not. It doesn't benefit Arlo for them to feel hopeless because he's going to feel that. He's going to feel their hopelessness.
You are
Um,
absolutely correct, and the best thing you can do is continue to hold space for them and hold
that's
that
what I
love.
try to do.
and
Yeah.
keep that focus. And we continue to keep that focus. And if they know that there's others, and there's this group and there's this team of people praying, and we're bringing this angelic energy in, and we're doing something that has not been done yet either. That
Yeah.
has been done
Yeah.
with others and proven scientifically. So there is scientific and medical proof that this works.
Right.
And we're just now starting this process with Arlo. Um,
Hmm.
and it's been hard, but it is these initial processes. And I know that, I was excited when we first started because I'm thinking, okay, we did this healing. I can't wait to hear the updates from Devora. And, there was still some things that needed to be sorted out and worked through. And I almost got discouraged at first. I said, no, no, no.
Yeah.
I cannot get discouraged. I've witnessed the power of this energy myself. I've witnessed the power of eight and its healing magnitude, and I've seen it in others. And why would I let it lose faith just because it hasn't happened? It is happening.
Right.
And then I switched. It is to, and like Kim said, it is now. The healing is happening now,
Right.
and it doesn't just automatically heal. Healing is a process, and the healing is taking place. And that's what we hold faith with, and that's what we're going to continue to hold faith with.
Right. And that's what I'm doing too.
Well, and what came to my mind is in the Power of Eight book and in so many other things that I've read, and I'm guessing Brian would say the same thing, that the healing really is with the mind more than anything else. The
Yeah.
body is just a reflection of that. And I started reading a book yesterday that's just it's lightened me up. I mean, I'm ready to go tell the whole world. But there was one part in there where this man is talking about how the energetics of the body are 100 times more powerful at managing the health of the body than all of the chemicals that we have. The ions, the cytokines, the hormones, all that stuff. The energy portion of the process is 100 times more effective. So if you
Yeah.
think about, what your body's able to do, even from a physical standpoint, which is what modern medicine uses, like, well, we'll throw this at the mix. Um, how powerful it would be to shift the energy like 100 times, 100 times. That's yeah, that number just, I was like, wow, okay. Um, I could go on and on, but that's for another time.
The quantum healing realm, which is being proven time and time again by multiple different studies and researches, and it's something we all have the ability to tap into. We just forgot that, and that's what I'm hoping that these sessions are going to do, is to remind everyone that watches it and everybody, and hopefully all of humanity eventually, that we are these powerful beings, these powerful creations of this energy. And when we learn to utilize that energy, we literally gain, for lack of a better explanation, superpowers. It is, becoming supernatural. Joe Dispenza has a whole book and studies about that. The Power of Eight has scientific studies about that. The Celestine Prophecy, which was way back in the early 90s that this came out, and the stuff that they're talking about in there, and it is all interrelated, and it's not coincidence. And then when you experience it firsthand, you cannot help but shout it from the rooftops. And just like Kim said, when these things start clicking, and it awakens something in you, and you're like, this is too good not to share with everybody. And once again, I want to put that caveat. I am just hosting these sessions to hold a space. This is not me. This is nothing this is all about this energy. And that's what I cannot stress enough, because if you think it's me that's doing it, you're not going to be able to heal yourself, and you're not going to discover your own power. It is you that is doing all of this. And then the beautiful thing that's been discussed is how much we end up healing ourselves when we take place in this. And when we get out of the way and start healing, and then when we're healing ourselves, our world becomes healthier because our inner world, as we know, our innermost thoughts, our innermost reality creates our outer reality and manifests what we becomes our outer world. Then our outer world starts becoming happier, healthier, more involved, and it's proven time and time again. So I just love being able to share and hold space for this. Oh, you're on mute, Devorah.
Oh,
There
thought
we
I
go.
did unmute myself. Sorry about that. I just said yes, I agree. That's all I said.
All right. Well, with that all said, I think we've had kind of a good recap. Let's go ahead and get into our focus. And so, Tina, I see you're new here. I don't know if you've seen any of the replays, but what goes on is we do a focused 8-minute meditation. And we're going to put on this music. It's some shamanic didgeridoo and drums that just kind of create this real tribal trance-like state. And then we're going to put a picture up, and we have a focus intention. And that's where the power is. This is where the power of eight is but based off of is this focus intention. So we are all going to focus on Arlo's uh, being playful, that playful energy within Arlo. We're going to allow that to grow. We're going to use this, what we call this purple energy, the violet flame, many different things. It's come to me in different ways, but this purple energy, and we're going to allow that to manifest within Arlo, and it's going to be this beautiful, playful energy. So the focus intention we're going to put up is going to be of this. I'll put it up here in a second, is a purple
Mhm.
playground. And just to remind us, and we utilize that purple energy because it helps us to focus, it helps us to visualize. And we're going to visualize playing and Devorah's grandson Arlo playing and healthy and out there enjoying himself, whether he's playing in the playground or he's playing board games or just any type of playful energy. But the focus is playful energy and Arlo participating in that playful energy.
I just had a thought. I don't, you know, the tech side of it better, Brian, so you can answer this. But I wonder if it's would be feasible to put Arlo's picture in the chat, and then just when you do the share of the link, make the chat not available to be seen. Is that possible?
I don't think this chat does come up when the replays. We can see if we can put the picture in the chat.
I know when I did the replay from my webinar, the chat did show up on there, but I don't know if that's something to do with the way I set it up or what. Like I said, you probably know the tech
Yeah, you
better.
can provide that in the settings. I think I have it disabled. So, let me see if I can find. Unless Devorah, you have one handy that you want to try to throw in the chat of the Zoom chat.
I don't know how to do that.
Okay.
I'm not very technical.
Let me see if I can find it from when you shared it with us to the Zoom chat. So it's just inside a chat here. Lots of chats going on in this. If yes, we will add you to this as well. Uh, I'll see about finding you on Facebook, Tina, so we can add you into the chat group that we have here. Oops.
There might have been a picture in before we went to this new chat of just the Infinity Purple. Remember, we just went to this, started this new group here in the last week or
Um,
so. And prior to that, there might have been a picture in the messenger chat of him, because I know there was pictures in the messenger chat.
yeah. No, wrong chat. Too many chats. Oh, wait, that's right.
I'm
Power.
guessing you know that you can search in the chat for media to help
Yeah.
narrow it down. Okay.
Does not. Sorry, guys. Trying to. I know another way to do it because I think Devorah, you shared the same picture on your Facebook page.
I did.
So I'll just grab it from there because that chat has got too much going on. There's pictures and wildness. Do you want the one? Yeah, we'll try this one. This is a good one because he's playful in this. Looks happy.
Yeah, I don't care which one you share.
Let's see where find our Zoomaroo here. Uh, Unable to send file. It doesn't let me send it in here.
Yeah.
Uh,
You know what you could do, Brian, if you wanted to, you could turn off the record for a second, show the picture, and then put the record back on.
we could do that. We could do that. Definitely.
Then it wouldn't be in the recording, but everybody'd be able to see it for a moment. I'm trying to think if I could do that. I don't know that maybe I can do that.
I would have to stop the
Settings.
recording, so I can pause the recording right now. The recording back, and we are back. And for the overall public view, we will be utilizing, and let me share this picture. To focus on that energy. Is that showing up all good? We can see that? Okay.
Yeah, and it's very playful.
That's kind of what I like, and it incorporates purple, that power of purple
Yeah.
energy. So,
Yeah.
what will be happening is this is 8 minutes. I'm going to set a timer so we don't have to worry. It is 8 minutes. We will kind of just let ourselves go, knowing that we have this timer in place. So we can fully just really get into the music, let the music get us into that trance-like state. And then we're going to generate that purple energy within us. We're going to allow that purple energy, that flame kind of to rise within us. And then as that arises and it generates and it fills our spirit and our energetic field, and then we'll begin that focus intention of the play and that Arlo playing and having fun at this carnival or however we want to envision it. But just the focus intention is the playful energy and having Arlo participate. So let me get this going. Set our timer. Mm. I think we had Sam join as well. Yeah, so thank you for joining, Sam. I don't know how much of that you caught, but we're about to get ready to do our focus intention meditation. So 8 minutes of just focusing that energy. I think you heard the explanation. So let's get going. Make sure you guys can see the screen. And is this loud enough? Can we hear it? Do we need to go louder? Is that loud enough? It's plenty loud on my side. Okay. Great. We're gonna throw the meditation timer. And so we got 8 minutes. Let's begin. Oh, 8 minutes always goes so fast. Ooh. Wow, we're back. And that was wild. That took a weird turn, and I don't know if it was because of the focus picture having Carlo's dad in it. It was a very interesting and positive turn, but for me, it started off, and I just kind of envisioned this big field, kind of or a forest, and there's trees, plant life, and kind of looking around, and I see Arlo kind of keeps you know, poking his head out around from trees and hiding and playing with me and being real playful, and he got this little giggly like smirk to him, and and he pops back behind, and I, hey, what are you doing back there? And he's just giggling and just having the grandest time, and it was really joyous, and I just felt this energy, and I kind of just walked up to him, and then I just put my hand on his chest and kind of just let some of that purple energy just kind of soak into him and light him up. And then at that point is when his father, your son, came in, Dvora, and he came in the picture and he goes, "Hey, what's going on?" He kind of was taken aback, and there's this frustrated energy I could feel with him. And I just looked and I said, I walked over to him and I just gave him a big hug, and I said, "It's going to be okay, brother. Arlo's okay." And I just gave him this huge hug, and it just kind of like, I don't know if you've seen those pictures of how you change somebody or how a hug can change someone's life. And you have the dark person and the one person that's full of light, and the dark person's sad and down. As soon as the light person gives them the hug, it fills the other person with light. And that's what happened with Arlo's dad. He just felt filled up with this purple energy and this purple light. And he just kind of perked his head up, and he stopped for a second. And then I could see him looking at Arlo, and his eyes just started lighting up. And just he got this joy in his eyes because he started seeing his son as a healthy version of Arlo. And it just brought him to so much joy. I said, "See, your son." I said, "Arlo is healthy. Arlo is healed. Now go play, have fun with your son, and be joyous." And I let them just go out into the field, and they were playing, and he was picking them up and twirling them around, and they're rolling around in the grass, having a good time. And then mom comes over with a blanket, and they have this picnic out there in the this beautiful setting, and they're just all so happy and joyous and healthy. And they just sat there, and as they sat there as a family, and they just kind of shared in this energy, uh, Arlo looks at both of them, and he goes, and he just says, "Dad, Mom, thank you for never giving up on me." And right as he said that, this spark and this shock wave of purple energy just shot out across the entire land, across just everything, just everywhere. The entire universe shot out and burst out everywhere. And then the alarm sounded, and here we are telling our experiences.
Wow, that's powerful. Yeah.
You know,
I saw him he kept grabbing his dad's hand and going, come on, let's go play. Come on, let's go do this. Come on, come on. And then I realized as I was watching it that Arlo wears a backpack all the time because he's on IV nutrition. He can't eat. And so he's had a backpack with an IV thing, and then it goes into his heart. And you don't see it all the time. Like in the picture, I don't know if it was very noticeable, but and it might have been sitting on the floor next to him at that point, because sometimes he takes the backpack off. But when I saw him pulling his dad's arm and going, come on, let's go. Let's ride the roller coaster. Let's get on the Ferris wheels. Let's come on, Dad. And I realized he didn't have his backpack on. And it
Mhm.
was because he didn't need it anymore.
That's wonderful. That is so awesome.
Yeah, because his backpack contains his nutrition, and that's the only thing he keeps him alive is his backpack. And he didn't need it anymore, which is awesome.
That's interesting too, because there was a small glimpse of mine in mine too, because I think it's from the carnival picture that we were. So this carnival tied in. So this carnival was in the distance, and I just hear Arlo kind of look at his dad, and he goes, "Can I have some cotton candy, Daddy?" And he's like, "Of course you can. You can have anything you want."
That's exactly what was in mine, purple cotton candy. And it
What?
eventually ended up um, in a point where I recognized it like the thought popped in, oh yeah, he doesn't get to eat right now. And I didn't know how long that would be have gone on, but I figured it was a while. And he was just really excited about that cotton candy. We he started out, we were walking along and like a yellow brick road, but it was purple, and then it was like flowers, purple flowers. And then all of a sudden I saw him, instead of being um, the picture that we saw, he was he was purple spirit, like Tinkerbell, but with purples, like spreading that purple in it. So he was just kind of floating on as a purple spirit. And then I said, well, what do you want to do? And we're going through the carnival, and um, he wanted to go into the fun house, and he walks in to look at the mirrors, and now he sees Arlo. He's not, purple energy anymore. He's looking at himself, and he's making silly faces, and he's going through the fun house. And then he leaves the fun house. Okay, where are we going to go now? And he sees there's a pond with some fish in it, and he wants to go check out the fish and the ducks. And um, then we go over to a one of those games where you can win stuffed animals. Like throw the thing or whatever. And now Dad's there. Dad's helping him win a great big purple shark. Um, and then we leave there. Well,
Sharks
I'm
are
kind of
his
in.
favorite animal right now, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. I got that from the picture. I was like, okay, okay. Um, and then he, uh, I was kind of hanging back at that point. It was Dad and him. Um, what went on from there? Uh, he he went and found a clown, and the clown gave him some balloons, and pretty soon he was floating. And it's okay, you're a spirit, you're safe, Arlo, you're safe. So he floated a little bit. It reminded me of Mary Poppins, the movie Mary Poppins. And okay, it's time to come back down. And he went on to he saw an elephant with a monkey with a purple hat. And then the timer went off.
Well, once again, the similarities. We always have similarities. And this one blew me away. You had the cotton candy, you had the silly faces, and then you had us stepping back from the healing to allow him to play with the family and dad. It's wow, wow. I don't know if anybody else wants to share, but wow.
I had a little bit of a different experience. Arlo led me to the ocean where we could go swimming. I don't know if he swims. I don't know if he likes to swim, but we were in the ocean and we were swimming. Yeah, the sharks. Well, no sharks, dolphins. Dolphins are what showed up. And I think that's because I was focusing on the playful energy. So the idea of play and just being free, and there was no limitations because at this point, you are in just spirit, so you could stay under the water as long as you like and swim down as far at the dolphins as you wanted. And I kind of let him hang back and play with them for as long as he wanted. And it is funny because in the beginning he had on what I assumed was a life vest. Maybe it was the backpack, and he took it off to go in the water. So that could be something. And he also seemed a little bit older to me in the vision. So yeah. I call Tina was saying she called in her guides. I also call in my guides and the angels, and very quickly connected with his guardian angel, which is in the choir of Uriel, the angel of wisdom. So whose color
Mhm.
is red, if that could be helpful in any way.
Yeah. It's interesting to me that several of us over the last couple of weeks have had visions of him older, because we've posted some pictures in the chat of what he looks like now. And he was only 15 months old when the accident happened, so really young. And now 3.5 and almost 4. And and yet several of us have had visions in doing this work. We've had visions of him older. And I think that's significant.
That is incredibly significant. Yes, I saw Wendy said 6 or 7 is what she saw, and that's what Tony Ann saw, and that's kind of what I saw about that age. It was definitely
Mhm.
some an older, more, engaged, he was coherent, not like a toddler, not like a 4-year-old, but
Right,
but
right.
knowledge of what's kind of going on and what he wanted to do.
Yeah,
Wow. Whoa, this was a powerful
powerful.
session. This was wowzers. This was really definitely hit me. The similarities really got me this time because this is, yeah, playing with his dad and running from ride to ride, having fun at the circus. Wendy says it's amazing that playing with his dad was a big thing and incorporating that. We all, once again, I've said this in the past, I get out of the way and just let the energy do what it needs to do. The energy guides me, the energy does, and the energy knew. We also need still a little healing for dad, especially. It seemed like dad, that mom was still around in my vision, but it wasn't that she needed as much as dad did, and that dad really needed some of that love too. Definitely felt that. That was
Yeah, I think that this has pushed his dad, to the very edge this time. And I mean, obviously, you're going to have PTSD no matter what if you run over your child and almost kill him. But this round of everything, all the surgeries and stuff, I keep having this vision of my son as a sheet of glass that's just ready to shatter into a million pieces. And just I'm trying to hold him in a place of light so that he can find a little bit deeper to dig down, because he's had to dig down pretty deep in his soul to even be able to stand in the midst of this for 2.5 years. Um, and this seems to be a very, um, for some reason, more difficult time than any of the others, the last 2.5 years.
I wonder how much he's blaming himself and looking at this situation as,
Hugely. Yeah,
yeah, and
hugely.
seeing the suffering and saying, this is my fault. I did this.
Right.
And that's heavy. That's very heavy.
Yeah, there's a huge amount of that going on in the PTSD that can be really, and I mean, she has some too, because it happened right in front of her. Arlo bolted from her and ran behind the truck, and that's how he got run over when my son backed up. But so she has it too. It's just it's a different place that it's coming from than him. I mean, he's referred to several times over the last 2.5 years, when I killed my son. And I'm like, well, he's alive. Well, he flatlined 5 times, so he was dead at one point. And I said, yeah, but you can't focus on that, but he just,
That's
to him, that resonates in his brain, and it
that's
needs
the
to go.
story.
It
That's the
needs to go
story right
away. The
there.
story needs to go away. Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if there's a way, and I get what I'm suggesting here, but the challenge of it, I wonder if there's a way to reframe that in, it's a
Yeah.
mistake. You made a mistake. That's it.
Right. Right.
You drove
It
your
was an
car.
accident.
You made a mistake.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a total accident. You couldn't have seen him if you wanted to, because the truck is too high for the backup camera to have picked him up. There's no way you would have known that he just came out of house that second. And I mean, it was just a complete accident. It wasn't neglect. It wasn't anything. It just an accident. But, your mind always wants to blame something or someone.
I think if we can get him to focus on the health and Arlo being healthy and him
Right.
healing
Right.
and being healed, and not reminding him, even like reminding him, hey, it was an accident, and you're still reminding him of the
Right.
event.
Right.
So let's get the focus off the event and the focus on the now. We said it, it's kind of coming full circle now. I think we had the discussion at the beginning, how the now is where it needs to happen. Focus
Right.
on where we are now.
And I think
Um,
that's significant that we were focusing on not healing my son, but seeing him healed and interacting with his child. And just by seeing him playing and interacting and Arlo being okay and I think that in itself brings healing to my son.
so once again, as I said, the energy kind of guides me and tells me and shows me the homework, the focus, all that stuff. And it's come to me this time is that's where I think the homework and the focus needs to be is that cohesive family unit, healing, playing, picnics, family gathering, family outings, family playing at the park, just that family, so they all are healed and seeing the healed Arlo and being able to interact with the healed Arlo. So it heals the entire unit because Arlo is healed. They get to heal. And it allows that anguish to be released. Hmm. Any anybody want to add anything on that or so those following along that haven't participated, this is kind of what we do. We meet weekly and we get a homework assignment for the week and we take 8 minutes because everybody can spare 8 minutes of their day. Everybody has a spare 8 minutes. And we just set a timer. We take 8 minutes and we do this focus intention. And the focus intention this week will be a healed Arlo healing his family and the joyous energy that that brings and the play that that brings. So wonderful, wonderful. Thank you guys all again for another awesome session and participating. This is just getting more and more incredible every week, and I just get more and more excited about it. All right. Thank you, thank you. I guess we will stop the recording here.